Guys, I invite you to continue to sip your cacao in silence. And as you do that, I'll be singing a song for cacao. Medicina de cacao, medicina de cacao, madrecita, abriéndome, caucaucita, abriéndome, medicina de cacao, medicina de cacao, medicina curándome, medicina sanándome, ábreme el corazón, ábreme el corazón, caucaucita curándome, medicina sanándome, espíritu de cacao, espíritu de cacao, medicina hablándome, medicina escuchándome, espíritu de cacao, espíritu de cacao. Take a deep breath in, inside out. Awesome. Well, I'd love to hear in the chat where everyone is joining us from, because it looks like we're from all over. So one of the great parts of cacao, or one of the great blessings of cacao, is that she really does bring together people together from all over the world. Yes. Oh, beautiful. Oh, St. Augustine, Florida. Cool. I've always wanted to go there. So we have St. Augustine, we have St. Augustine, Florida, Cambridge, Massachusetts, BC, Canada, Sacred Valley, Peru, where my heart lives, and Miami. Beautiful. Um, I'm in New Jersey, for those of you that are curious. I'm in New Jersey. Welcome. Thank you all so much for joining today, this Water of Love cacao ceremony. I've been leading these Water of Love ceremonies specifically for, I'd say, going on a year. It's this new spin on my cacao ceremonies because I have began, or when I began to work more deeply with water. Actually, in all transparency, funny story, Water of Love came to me like so many years ago. And it was one of those things, I don't know if it happens to you all, but it's like you get this idea and you're just like, oh, that is a great idea. I love that. Not yet though. And then all these different excuses start coming in where it's like, oh, like I gotta study some more, or there's some stuff that I need to clear, or I'm definitely gonna work on that, but I really just gotta create the space for it. It's gotta be, this whole thing. I need a whole day, where I have my favorite incense going, and I've already like done my own personal ceremony, and then I can really get into that creative space and listen and let it flow. But that's not always the case. That's usually us just getting in getting in our own way when we're called to deliver something that is really important or really great. And so it took me a few years before I finally got Water of Love out here into the public for other people. And it's been super beautiful, and it actually didn't take any of the things that I told myself it was going to take. All it took was me, you know, giving myself a little shaking of the finger and being like, Vivian, just sit down and start. Just do one line. That's it. That's all you got to do. And like with most things, once you just put one foot in front, then the other foot follows. It's like walking, it'll come naturally. And so here we are with Water of Love, this really amazing container where we honor the medicine of cacao, and we also honor the medicine of water, where we don't typically think of water as medicine. We just think of water as like a resource. Maybe we don't think of water at all. But I can promise you that when you start to connect with water and think of it as more than a resource, and think of it as a medicine, or even just as, let's say, a mystical, and I don't want to say tool, but I think that's a good way for people to relate to it. Or you can say teacher, which is a great way. We call cacao a teacher. So that will open you up in so many ways that you never imagined possible. Your dreams will completely become so expansive, so vivid. Your intuition will become heightened. We think about, or there are a lot of references to the moon and the way that the moon can affect your dreams, how the moon can heighten your intuition. But there's something so accessible, that you can touch, that you can drink. It's right here. It's water. Water does that as well. Water also awakens memory in you. Like it helps you remember who you are. Which sounds kind of like, okay, and maybe you're reaching a little bit, Vivian, but it does. And too often we forget that the simplicity is where the potency is. It's not always this huge, like, elaborate ceremony or this very rare and obscure crystal or ceremonial tool or this very elaborate feather fan. It's like in the simplicity. When we go back to the simplicity of the elements, there is so much richness there that we often overlook because maybe it's not as shiny or maybe it's not as glamorous, but that's where the magic is actually hidden. And so, as I leaned more into that, into water, which I've always loved water. It's been like my favorite element to like visit and play with. It's just been a place of where I find peace, where I find clarity. I love visiting bodies of water. But when I allowed myself to really be carried just from this appreciation of water into a relationship with and communication with water, then a lot more began to be revealed to me. And maybe this sounds like very intangible or very mystical, but it's both. It is super mystical. There's so many things that I wouldn't be able to explain, and at the same time, it is very grounded and embodied and accessible for everyone. Usually, you know, we have our water issues around the world, but I think for those of us that are sitting here today, you know, lucky enough to have this Wi-Fi connection and Zoom, we have access to water, to clean water. And so that's a little bit about how Water of Love came to be. And if you all would like to share your intentions, I would love to hear some intentions. If you want to share them in the chat, you can jot them in the chat. If you'd like to share voice to voice, you are more than welcome to as well.
I can go
I can
first.
go. Oh,
Oh, okay, you can go, Crystal.
okay, thank you. I, for me, what just came in was presence. Just to be here in the presence of like sisterhood. It's been a while since I've done a cacao ceremony in community, and my own cacao practice has been like I can't say non-existent because she'll like yell at me and be like, all right, have cacao today. Like, so I'm still having her once in a blue moon, but it really went from like cacao being the foundation of my day to cacao being on the sidelines of my day. And I think she's just calling me back of like, you need to come back into your heart. You need to start your day with this, because when I do, I feel so full and I feel so embodied and I feel so grounded, and I move differently. Like I move softer, I move more intentionally. I have gratitude like filling me throughout my day, versus like when I don't, I get stuck in the 3D and I get stuck in like maybe my anger or in like a small moment that I don't need to be getting stuck in, that's pulling me away from seeing the beauty of what exists. So for me, it was just like presence, being here, listening to the sisters that are here, listening to your magic, listening to your wisdom, and hearing cacao speak to me. And I love that water is big, because water is so huge for me too. So it's just like, oh, I was supposed to be here. um, yeah, so that's it. Just being present, just being here, just like quieting my mind and not letting like the monkey mind brain take over and planning and all of that stuff. Just being here right now in this moment in time.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm so happy that you made it. I'm so happy that you're here. And
Too.
you know, it happens. Sometimes we fall off of our practices that keep us grounded and we get distracted. But sometimes in those moments of like, let's say disconnection or forgetting, the contrast reminds us of how important our practices actually are. So, yes, thank you for showing up. Samsara?
Hi, everyone. Good morning. So my intention, the only word that seems to come up right now is adoration. And that's in all the ways right now. I'm here because of Viv, and I adore her. And she has connected me to the medicine of cacao in ways that I cannot explain. It's just beyond me. It's very mystical, and that's why I'm here. So I'm in adoration of this container. I'm in adoration of Viv. I'm in adoration of cacao. And also just to be in adoration of the process of our becoming. And, we have different waves of life. And, sometimes we're at the peak and sometimes we're in the valley. And just to zoom out and just kind of be in this space of adoration for this process of becoming. And I'm definitely guilty that, like, okay, I need to be at this stage at this time, at this kind of a thing, at this age, because I'm a Capricorn, and that's and I'm really stubborn. And um although setting goals and accomplishing them is really great, also there needs to be this grace and this flexibility, this adaptability into also just being in adoration of the process of where I'm at. So that's my intention.
Thank you. You know, I love you too so much. And thank you about sharing that, honoring the process of becoming, right? Sometimes we do get so focused on the end goal or even how we picture it should be and how the steps should unfold for us to get there. And it's okay to have some sort of like blueprint or loose plan. But when you start to get too wrapped up in the details, that's where we start to create our own obstacles. And it's really important to just have it like bare bones, like like you would follow a blueprint of how to build whatever structure you're trying to structure. And then allow the details to come in after. I rarely know of any construction project that has ever gone according to schedule because along the way, surprises happen and you're like, oh, that didn't actually pan out the way that I visualized it. We're gonna have to rework this and come back to this or make some sort of tweak or adjustment. And that's where the learning process comes in. We learn from the things that we weren't expecting to see or encountered. Yes, I'm here to be like water. Me too. Would anyone else like to share their intention or what's coming up for them so far? Jill? Yes.
So I guess it's been almost a year now. I had this like sort of general intention that I was carrying with me all the time. And just recently I found, well, a lot of times like I couldn't come up with something and be like, what's your intention for today or whatever. And I realized I was like, I had this intention that I was trying to hold, and there's nothing wrong with me using the same intention over and over. Like I somehow made myself believe like I had to have a different intention for every ceremony, for every time I had cacao and all that. And so it's I am in flow with the light of my soul. And it's just recently come back to me, and especially like with the black moon yesterday, and talking about like the how the light of the candle is so much more powerful in the dark than it is in the day, and realizing like that is being the light is being in flow with the light of my soul. Oh, and I was also going to say, like Crystal, I also used to have a daily cacao practice and got out of it. And what I'm trying to do now, I realized that I think I was like in a rote practice with it. And so I am trying to listen for Mama Cacao to call me, like, or when, because I know she calls me, and listen for it and then answer it by having the cacao then. So maybe it's not something I wake up and do every, like, because I had this like, I think I got into a very masculine routine, right? I felt like discipline. I went through this phase of feeling like I wasn't disciplined enough. And I was like, but I'm like, yes, we all have the masculine in us, but like that is not my forward um being or presentation. And I was like, I need to find a much more feminine flow with all of this. And so I think following the intuition of when to have it is going to be my feminine flow for my cacao practice.
Thank you. I love that. Everything your intention, like I am the light of my soul, I follow the light of my soul. And like you said, listening, right? It's cacao isn't something where it's like, oh, well, like I started this cacao practice and I'm always going to have cacao and I have to wake up and do my go in this very like masculine must follow this ritual every day. Um, just because you can have cacao every day doesn't mean you need to have cacao every day or that you should have cacao every day. Like any medicine, there are moments to take it and then there are moments to have your break. And I also have my breaks with cacao where I feel my body is like, no, you know what? Like I don't need it right now. I'm not craving it. Um, or even how I feel just energetically or emotionally or mentally. I don't need to drink cacao to feel the medicine that she provides. And then I know when it's time to come back. And sometimes we let that stretch go on a little bit too long. Like we know we should probably have some cacao, but there are so many more important things going on, or we just don't have the time to create the space for cacao and like have the whole like um and maybe might be a little bit of an unpopular opinion, but even if you don't have that time to go into that ritual and to sit with cacao or journal or sometimes just drinking it and allowing yourself to like take in the physical properties of it will help, because at the end of the day it is changing our physiology. Like biologically it does affect us, it does affect our mood. And so there's no harm in just consuming cacao, even if you don't have that space to really go into that ritual. And then when you are ready to come back to your ritualistic practice, then you're there. Did you have something to share, Jill? It looked like you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I actually, when I started the daily practice, it's because a Mayan elder suggested using it for depression. And I will tell you that a year of cacao every single day was magic. I mean, it did. Like phenomenal. Yeah, came off medication, like really. And so it did what it like I mean, there were days that the ritual was just thank you. And I did always invite Mama Cacao in to do the work, into my body for me, into my heart, come into open and work with my heart. So anyway, but I appreciate it. It had never occurred to me that I could use it that way. And what a gift. I actually got to see her a year later and tell her like what it had done for me, which
Wow.
was amazing. Yeah.
Oh, that's so amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. I love to hear testimonies of like how cacao has helped people through their depression or through anxiety, um, because it's just a reaffirmation of like that's what the elders have been talking about for centuries, and it's here. We have medicines that are accessible to us so that we can connect with our heart and live from that place. And you know we say connect to the heart, and I know that sounds so fluffy, right? Because it's like, oh yeah, like what does that even mean? We're just gonna be flowy or just super lovey-dovey. But There's so much power in connecting to the heart and living from that space. So when we work with cacao, we're working with an intermediary, right? Cacao functions as an intermediary between dimensions. And while that can be very energetic, different dimensions or more on the mystical side, there's also the very grounded and practical side, the dimension of the heart. We're talking about the dimension of the brain as well. And so it works as a bridge between the heart and the brain. So when we start to work with cacao, we're creating a harmonic resonance, and it's aligning the energetic field of the heart to the energetic field of the brain. And so when you create this alignment between these two energetic fields, this resonance, it makes it easier for us to receive these insights, the deeper insights, to tap into the flow state where our creativity is able to be expressed. And we work from an expanded and embodied state. So with this resonance, cacao has the ability to begin to activate, to interact with our own cellular intelligence. Right? So what is that cellular intelligence? Well, part of that cellular intelligence is the health of the cardiovascular system and activation of the areas of the brain that allow us to express our creativity, to think more clearly, efficiently, effectively. That gives us access to joy, happiness, love. And so when we start to think about the different dimensions of ourself, right? The physical, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual, and we invite in medicines like cacao and water to facilitate that alignment and that resonance, to serve as a bridge, then I don't know why it just came up, but like I literally just saw like water flowing under a bridge, and it's like us crossing that bridge effortlessly, right? Where it's like from where we are to where we're trying to be. And so with cacao and living from the heart space, just going more into this theme of living from the heart space, living aligned to what, right? It's sometimes we do need to get specific. Oh, and Jill, I'll just piggyback because it just came back to me about your intention and how you used to think you always needed a different intention for every ceremony. There's so much power in the repetition of an intention, right? Because you can deepen into that intention. And one intention can manifest and show itself in so many ways. So I also work with the same intention very, very, very often. And it's usually around trust. It's just like, oh, Mama Cacao, just like, help me trust my heart today. Help me trust my intuition today. Help me lean into trust. And it works. It really does work. Okay, so living from the heart space, opening our hearts, right? Something that we don't often think about opening the heart is protection. And I'm not talking about you need to protect your heart before you open it. What if I told you that opening your heart is actually what will offer you the protection? How does that make you feel? Resonates? Yeah. So it's actually in opening our hearts that we are able to more fully protect ourselves. because it's coming from a place of knowing. So energetically, when you work with cacao, it starts to, on one end, right? It's like, so we have armors, we have shields, and a lot of those were built around our experiences. And then another shield, let's say, it's just natural. It's a natural shield that we carry because it's a part of our energetic body. So when we start working with cacao, on one end, she starts to help us dissolve the shields that came from experiences where maybe we were jaded, and helps us to reinforce and amplify the energetic, the spiritual shields that are just inherent within us. And what is inherent in us is the natural energetic field of our heart. So our hearts, our physical hearts, right, and our energetic hearts, our physical heart, it has its own electromagnetic field. And the studies have been done, it's already been proven that this field of the heart is 5,000 times stronger than the fields that are emitted from the brain. So when you start to bring this into coherence, right? So that the two aren't trying to oppose each other, but rather they're working together. When you are coherent, your entire energetic field expands. And when that happens, it's like all systems start to come online, right? Where the areas of the systems of the body begin to communicate with each other, where maybe there was static. Your relationships, business, family, health, intuition, the signals become more clear. And same with water. When you start to work with water and structure water, which we haven't spoken about yet, but we go into like way in depth in Water of Love. When you start to actually structure water, you're also stimulating the inherent fields around the cells, around the organs, in every single aspect of you, right? And water also works as a conductor, a conducer. Like hello, what do you do when you want a seed to grow? You water it, right? Like there is a very, I don't even want to say mystical, or just, it's powerful. It's life. It's life-giving. When you're out exploring, what do you look for as a sign for life? Water. If there's water, then there's going to be life around. And so when we work with water, structured water, when we work with cacao, and we begin to stimulate these energetic fields, we allow them to naturally expand, and we begin to naturally fortify our energetic, our spiritual shields. Because when you open your heart, right? Or we could say, when you're even just attempting to open your heart, or it doesn't necessarily have to be fully open, like just being in that practice, having that intention, wanting to be authentic, truly aligned with who you are, knowing what you want and having the courage to go after it, that is connecting you to your soul essence. That naturally fortifies your spiritual shield. And so what happens, it starts to protect you from things that are not aligned for you, things that are not right for you, and becomes more magnetic for the things that are. When you are in this space, this practice of opening your heart and living from this space, wanting to connect to your purpose, that sense of knowing, that sense of connection to yourself, to your truth, that is your protection. Is there anything that wants to be shared on what I just said? So, now, in this practice of working with cacao, in working to open our heart space, to truly live in alignment, to have the courage to go after our heart's true desires, something else starts to happen, right? We have the coherence that's happening between the heart and the brain. We have this expansion of our auric fields. We have the strengthening of our spiritual shields, which does not come from a place of fear or grudges or past experiences, right? The protection, the shield comes from this, from an integrity, from the integrity of your heart. So, in that, a natural rewiring of your brain starts to happen. A natural rewiring of your being starts to happen. And so drinking cacao with your intention, right? The intention is, that's the boom. If you're looking for the little secret sauce the fairy does, it's the intention, right? Because we have words, they can be empty words without intention. And we can have cups, it can just be an empty cup without the intention. So when you speak your intention, put that breath of life into the cacao, then the probability of anchoring that intention into your reality increases significantly, right? And like you were saying, Jill, about having the same intention, right? That's how things build on that repetition, on the same, and just so let's think about different places of worship, sacred spaces. Why do they just feel so energetically different? Because of the consistency of people going there and praying and offering their intentions and their devotions and their offerings, their flowers. Like, it accumulates, it begins to compound. And so working with these two, cacao, the spirit of the earth, very rooted, embodied, this ancient wisdom, and working with water, the keeper of memory. We have this flow, we have purification, we have a cosmic transmission. Because water is so mysterious. It is a living intelligence. It's like a quartz crystal. It's like a quartz because it can store information. It can transmit information. And it can amplify energetic frequencies. So when you are working with cacao and with water, now we're moving into on a deep cellular level. We are imprinting our DNA, emotions, subconscious patterns. We're accessing that, and we are, let's say, like soaking them, cloaking them in higher vibrational codes. We can say codes, we can say intentions, we can say intelligence, we can say information. So we're going to have a water blessing. I just saw this resonance with one part of me that freaks out another. Yeah, I know what you mean. Okay, so does everyone have their glass of water? Beautiful. If you need a water refill, we'll wait for you, Crystal.
I'd just like to share, I love everything that you've just been sharing about the heart, and it really resonates. And it doesn't surprise me that my intention this morning was lead with the heart and let everything else fall away. And yeah, and so when I saw you post on the Lemurian container that we're in, I wasn't sure why I needed to be here, but I knew I needed to be here.
Oh.
I love cacao. It's a part of my practice, and I spend a lot of time with cacao. But yeah, I just felt deeply drawn to join in this morning, and I wasn't sure why, but I listened to that, and that was my intention that came out this morning. And yeah, so I love how everything just flows together.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here, for trusting that nudge that said, no, I gotta go. So I really appreciate it. Okay. So this is a very simple water blessing. You can also call it a water ritual, where we structure water. And structuring water means that we return it to its natural or more elevated, coherent form on a molecular level. So water in nature, the water in rivers and in streams, molecularly, it is different. It looks the same, right? It's just, it don't look like water, but what's happening on the atomic level is different. And it's really cool and very simple. So we'll just hold our cups of water to our heart. And breathing into the heart space. And activating our palms as an extension of our hearts. And if you'd like, you can even imagine a light emanating from the center of your palms into your water. Still breathing into the heart. Inhaling and exhaling from the heart space. And allowing the breath to create a pulse of light. A pulse that creates a rhythm. A rhythm that's being projected into your water. And bringing in a sense of appreciation for water. What is your connection to water? allow that gratitude and appreciation to well up in your heart and continue to project that from your palms, or from your heart, down your arms, palms into your water. And offering up your own personal prayer, not just for the water that's in your cup, but for all of the waters around the world, because all water is connected. Thank you, water, for your light. Thank you, water, for this life. Sacred waters, ancient memories. Sacred waters, flow within me. Thank you, water, for your light. Thank you, water, for this life. Sacred waters, ancient memory. Sacred waters, flow within me. Thank you, water, for your light. Thank you, water, for this life. Sacred waters, ancient memory. Sacred waters, flow within me. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Now you can drink this water. And so by drinking this water that we've structured, that we've blessed, we become like antennas that resonate the prayers and the intentions that were put into the water. Because water becomes a part of us, right? Like biologically, it's transformed, it's utilized by our body. And in that alchemy and that transformation, it also gives off its own resonance. We have water in our body. We have a lot of water in our body. And so think of yourself as a body of water. And when you throw a pebble or place a flower on the surface of that body of water, what happens? There's a ripple effect that happens. And that ripple, it doesn't end. Like this physical body is not a boundary for that ripple. That ripple continues on, just in the same way that when you're feeling a very charged emotion It's not just happening within you, because if you're in a mood, if you're in a funk, and one of your friends comes around, they'll pick up on it and they'll be like, "What's with you?" Right? So this is not necessarily the boundary where that ripple ends and continues to expand. Is there anything that wants to be shared?
That song that you sang, I immediately started feeling the cacao, and my own waters started coming out too. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That was an incredible channel.
I agree. Um, I loved the song. I'm like, I need this. I need to sing this. It also reminded me that for a while, when I was doing my cacao ceremonies, it was um, the medicine of water and cacao were both like very prevalent for me. Like my prayers were to both and in gratitude for both, and like wanting to have like cleansing waters for the world and for everyone, on this planet. And I'd always sing the water blessing song, Nalani, um, that Sunny sang at the Mystical Yoga Farm. And so like I started singing that song, and it would be sung like every single time I had a cacao ceremony. And then somehow it just like went away. It just disappeared. I almost forgot about the song in a way until that moment that you started singing your song. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need that back. They really do go hand in hand. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing, both of you. Yeah, water can do that. Like, that song came to me when I was pouring water. And when was it? Yeah, last year when I was in Guatemala, um, I was just sitting outside looking at the lake, looking at the mountains, and all of a sudden, I just started writing poetry. And I hadn't written poetry in so long, like since I was a teenager, a long time ago. Um, and it wasn't cacao, like I had been already been drinking cacao for so many years, but that was still a part of, like, let's say, like my creativity or my expression that I hadn't accessed in so long. But just sitting in presence with water, I started writing poetry again. And so, yeah, water can also do that. Water can also put you in that flow state. Water can also help you access your creativity and these different parts of you that you may have forgotten. It's it's simple, but it's powerful. And so what we just did with our water blessing, we structured the water. And when you structure water, you are, well, depending on how you're structuring, when you structure it with, let's say, like a song or intention or a prayer like we did, or even that breathing and that pulse and that visualization, there's a energetic imprint that happens, and water responds, which I know can blow so many people's minds. Like, what do you mean water responds? Like, once I start talking about water in the water of love container, I may sound a little fanatical, but it's like so amazing because water can read, like it can pick up on images, it can pick up on words and interpret words, and like it'll spit something else out, its own interpretation. It's really just like so mind-blowing, the water research that's coming out these days. And so it doesn't have to be a song. It can be a moment like you have with your cacao, with your intention, just taking that moment to bless your water, give thanks to it. And then also just give thanks and a blessing to the waters around the world, right? Because when we when we are in like these types of containers and we're doing this work, we're doing the work, this personal work, just remember it's not just about you. Even though it feels so incredibly personal, do not underestimate the impact that you are having to the collective. Because when you change, there is a different, let's say, song that's being played from your own body of water. And when you change, when you open your heart, when you even attempt to open your heart, then that creates a space, right? That let's say that creates a vacuum. And they say that the universe abhors a vacuum, like it has to fill it with something. So if you're opening your heart and now there's this space for something to come in, what's going to come in? Something of like vibration, something that actually resonates. So when you open your heart, there's more love, there's more compassion, there's more light that's able to be anchored onto this planet. So yeah, it may seem like your own personal practice, but I can assure you there's something else that's happening on a collective level, on a planetary level. Like it is big. No pressure or anything. No pressure, do your thing. But I just want to reiterate that it's not insignificant, it's not selfish. What you're doing matters. And it is making a difference, whether you can see the immediate effects of it or not. And I'm just taking a pause because I really want that to land. Is there anything that's sparking for you that you'd like to share? Alrighty. So if it's okay for you guys, I'm going to take a few minutes, just a few minutes, to talk about Water of Love. So it's a 5-week live container where we meet on Saturdays at 11 a.m. My goal is 90 minutes, but in full transparency, once I get going, once we get going, because I'm not just blabbing the whole time. Once we get going, it can end up being up to 2 hours, which I know it can be a little bit of a stretch sometimes for folks, but I also can promise you it literally does not even feel like we're in it for 2 hours. By the time we're done, you're like, wow, that was 2 hours already. So we meet live on Saturdays at 11 a.m. Each week we focus on a theme and then we're building on the energy of the next. So you can think of it as like riding a wave, coasting and then catching the next wave that's coming in. This is a container that'll naturally activate your dream and intuition space. The water activations, they play an equal part as cacao in each cacao activation. So when we meet, we're meeting with cacao. And so we have our cacao invocation, and then we also have our water invocation. So it's a 2-part invocation. Journaling is a big part of this container. And again, the simplicity of things. I know journaling is also something that is overlooked. Sometimes folks don't like journaling, but journaling isn't just words. Journaling also shows up in different ways. Journaling can be scribbling. It can be some sort of automatic writing. Journaling is a somatic practice just as much as it is, let's say, an intellectual one. So there'll be some journaling done in our ceremonies, but within our private group, there are going to be pretty much daily prompts for you to consider in your own practice throughout the week. In our first wave together, it's the opening ceremony. So this is opening the container, it's activating our energetics, we're setting our intentions. Revisiting the basics, right? So never underestimating the power of a well-established foundations, and revisiting our own cacao rituals if we already have one, and reamping them if necessary. I go more into the physical and mystical benefits of cacao and water. And the opening ceremony is one of the longer sessions. That one for sure is 2 hours, because there's a lot that goes into it. In our second meeting, we work with breath as a tool for emotional intelligence. So we'll be working with movement and breath in the form of Kundalini yoga in order to mobilize energy to the heart space. And these practices are potent purifiers that serve to pump, that's right, like pump the stagnant waters in our body. In our third meeting, we're diving deeper into the unconscious. So we start to dive deeper into the water practices, and we begin to demagnetize the pull of the past by holding space and honoring our emotions. And this practice comes in the form of shamanic journeying. In our fourth wave, it's rediscovering the omnipresence of love. So this ceremony is dedicated to cultivating presence and allowing ourselves to open to the experience of love. Working with the heart space in a way that, from an angle or perspective that usually isn't approached but is equally important, which is working with the back of the heart. And in our fourth meeting together, that is our closing ceremony. And that is a co-creation that'll be put together by all of us that join the container, based on, I say, what washes ashore during our time together. But some of the things that you can expect are meditation, journaling, and chanting. I love chanting also as a form of working with water, because in that way, using your own voice to vibrate your inner waters can put you into an altered state. And so, water of love begins Saturday, September 6th. The regular price is $250. The promotional price for those of us here today in this ceremony is $175. And that can be paid all up front, or it can be paid in installments. And if you'd like that option, you can just reach out to me directly. Are there any questions, anything that wants to be shared about what's coming up, whether it is about the Water of Love container or anything else that came up during our time together?
How often do you open a new container?
So that's a good question. I open them when I get the signal to open
The
them. So
nudge. Yeah.
the
Okay.
last one that I did was last year, December.
Okay.
Yeah.
Asking because I love this and I'm getting ready. Like right after it starts, I am going on a personal pilgrimage and I'll be in Europe for almost a month. So
Amazing.
yeah. Yes.
Amazing. Well,
But
I
that
mean,
makes it unable to like commit to anything during that time.
yeah. Yeah, of course. But that's okay, like everything in its time.
Yes.
And whenever I do open the next container, I'll be sure to let you know.
That'd be awesome. Thank you.
I'm dropping in the chat the link to sign up.
Same here, Viv.
Price.
I would love, it sounds amazing. But I'll be leaving in the middle of September. I'm going with Nisa to the Amazon in Ecuador. Yeah. So I would
Oh,
have loved to have done it, but next time if you can put me on the list
absolutely.
so I can attend.
I've
Yeah.
been there. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I've been there. It's really nice. It's
Yeah.
a different jungle energy,
Yeah.
more subtle, gentle, welcoming. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the whole
Oh, sounds
family
great.
is super, they're very nice.
Oh, that's nice to hear from
Yeah.
someone that's been there. So that's
Yeah.
good. I'm
It's a
looking forward
hike.
to it.
It's a hike to
Yeah.
get there.
Yeah. Well, they have a road. Supposedly they build a road there now. So I don't know what they use, if they use the road or they still use whatever road they used to use before.
Yeah.
But I'm
It'll be
looking
less
forward
of a
to it.
hike, but yeah.
All
Okay.
right.
Well, yeah, blessings for your journey. Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. And don't worry, like, you don't have to respond now. You can take your time to think with it, sit with it, and, allow your interpersonal reflections to let you know when is the right time for you. Okay. Beautiful. So we'll go ahead and close. And we can close by bringing our palms together. Just creating some friction. Once again, tuning into the center of our palms, which are the extension of our heart. And taking a deep breath in, deep breath out. Remembering the intention that you set at the beginning of the container. Remembering the prayers that you set for the waters. And take a deep breath in. Bring your palms outwards, exhale, and allow that prayer to emanate from your palms into your space. Extending outside of the walls of your home. Inviting the wind and the birds to pick up on this prayer. inviting the waters to pick up on this prayer. And to carry it around the world. Bringing one hand to the heart, one hand to the belly. Giving thanks to the heart of the sky. Giving thanks to the heart of the earth. Giving thanks to the heart of the waters. Giving thanks to the heart of the fire. Giving thanks to all four winds that we breathe. Giving thanks to the spirit of cacao. And giving thanks to this light within. Maltiosh, Maltiosh, Maltiosh. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me today in this ceremony. I appreciate you guys, just coming in and creating space for yourself. And like I said, I really it's not even I believe, I know that when we do go into these spaces and we do this work, we talk a lot about how it's ancestral healing, but don't forget about what's happening here and now and how it is rippling out into the future and changing the trajectory of what is currently set to happen, and shifting, reorienting that to a trajectory based on love, compassion, wisdom, and unity. Enjoy the rest of your day. Sending you so much love, and I will see you on the flip side. Ciao, ciao.
Peace out. Thank you.